To get started on Book Adventure, you'll go to www.bookadventure.com in any web browser. If you haven't registered yet, you'll want to do that by clicking here on Register and register as a teacher. I've already registered, so I'm going to log in. So the first thing you'll want to do is to create a class. So you scroll down to the bottom to where it says I want to, and you'll click Add a New Class. Now, this is where we get confused because this is very confusing, I think. The best way to do this is the empty class. If you do the whole class, it just creates an extra step and it's not any easier than the empty class. So I would do the empty class. If you have created a class with whole class, but you've gotten stopped there and didn't know what to do next, just delete that class and go ahead and create an empty class. So I'm just going to play and do a fake class here. So I'm going to call this my fake class. Say that there's 5 students in my class. And I hit enter, and so that's why it made that mistake. Let me fix that. You want to use your mouse and not hit enter. That's what I did wrong. Make sure that you get your grade level in there, and you really want to remember what you typed in as your class name. Like, write that down because that's going to be really important for your students to be able to join in your class. Now, I would suggest your minimum grade level be K no matter what grade you teach, because I don't feel completely confident with the grade levels that Book Adventure has assigned to its books. It has some things labeled K that I would call a chapter book that a 4th grader would read, and it has some things labeled 4th that I think a kindergartner could read. I've been telling people to go up to 4, but you might even go up to 5 and 6, as there are some chapter books that are in our library that they have labeled 5 and 6, and I'm just recently figuring that out. Number of times per quiz is completely up to you. It's just how many times you want to allow a student to be able to retake a quiz. When they get a quiz report back and it tells them whether or not they got them all right or wrong, it does give them the correct answer for the ones that they missed. However, when they retake the quiz, it will enter in some new questions they haven't seen before, but it is possible they will be able to just remember the answers to the quiz questions that they missed the first time. Time allowed per quiz is completely up to you as well. I lean towards 10 minutes. Passing score for quiz, I would recommend you do at least 80%, or I'm sorry, 80% or 70%. I would not go with 90%, and the reason is that a lot of the quizzes, especially for the lower leveled books, are 5 questions. So if you get a 4 out of 5, that's of course 80%. So there's no way to score 90% on a 5-question quiz. So you're either going to want to do 80% or 100% or 70%. The books that are a little more advanced have 10 questions, but the lower ones have 5. All right, then you would submit, and it gives you your information, your fake class, and then the last name you used. All right, so now what you would do, now that you have a fake class, or you have a class created and you have your name, then you would log out, and every student then would log in and register and join this class name. So let me kind of show you what I mean by that. If you have a 3rd or 4th grade class, you could easily do this going into the lab and telling them to register and join your class. But if you're a K through 2 teacher, unfortunately, I would suggest that you register each student. So you would log out, and then you would click register as a student. I've been doing lots of students for teachers, you click on I want to register to use it at school. The reason why they do that, by the way, they can still access it at home if they register to use it at school, but you want them to register to use it at school because it will send the prize information and their reports to you as the teacher. And if you just had them do it as at home, it would send it to what is in the system as a parent email address. So this way it hooks them up to a teacher. So I'm going to create a fake student. I'll just click fake S for student. He's in 2nd grade. So we're going to create a username. The usernames can't be too long, and I can't recall the limit. Let's see if it'll tell us right here. No, it doesn't tell us, but I know that several of the teachers have been trying to use their MobyMax usernames, and those tend to be too long. I recommend that you have them do something like first name, last initial, and then a number. There are several people registered, so you may have to play with that. You might even have them fill out as much of it as they can and make a longer username and then go back and fix it. Then the password notice has to have a number in it. Most of us are using a generic password for all kids in the same grade level. So reading 4 for 4th grade, reading 2 for 2nd grade, reading 1 for 1st grade, etc. So I'm going to do reading 2. Some teachers have done things with their last names. The hint question, most kids are doing what is your favorite food and putting in something like pizza. Okay, this is where it's really important, is that they get your last name spelled correctly. That's technically my real last name. And what did I call it? I called it my fake class. So that has to be accurate so that they'll join your class. All this stuff on the right is optional, and I would not even bother putting any of that in. There's no point in doing that. By the way, the team thing, one day I'll do one of these screencasts on a team. It's something you could do within your class where you have them compete against each other, where you create 2 teams and one team wins an award or something if they beat the other team, if we want to do something like that. I know that we lean away from too much competition, so I haven't really been messing with that too much. So you would want to fill that out for each one of your students if you're a K through 2. So that can be a little time consuming, but I will help you with that. I'm very quick at it. My automatic fill-in helps me out a lot, and I just am a fast typist, so I really don't mind helping teachers do that. So just let me know if you want me to register your students for you. So notice that it bounced back because this username already exists. So someone else has done a fake student. I'm going to try fake S1. Okay, so that worked. And this is how I know it worked because here he is logged in, fake S1. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out. I'm going to log back in as me. I'm going to go to my classes. Here's my fake class. I'm going to click on that and view it. And look, there's my fake student, and I can see his username. Here's his username and his name. Notice I cannot see his password. So that's why I really recommend that we all use one password per grade level or per teacher. I can't imagine kids are going to be savvy enough to be logging into each other's book adventure and taking quizzes for each other, especially when most of them are taking quizzes in front of us, coming down to the library to take them, etc. So that is how to create a class and how to have students log in and join your class. And remember, making note of that class name and getting that typed in accurately is really important for that child to be able to join your class. 3rd and 4th grade, I would recommend just going down to the lab and having them register and create accounts and join a class that you've existed that's an empty class. K through 2, I would recommend you create an empty class and then log out and then re-register as each one of your students individually and making note that you use the same password for every student. Okay, I hope that helps everybody. Sorry I say a lot when I record. Let me know if you have any questions.